Hello folks, and welcome to another edition of What Are You Doing? I'm your host, Chad Stanton, and this is the show not about what I'm doing in the shop, but what you guys are doing in your shop. We have folks that have sent in pictures from all over the world, and it's all about showing our projects from concept to completion. It's a source of encouragement. We want to make sure that we complete projects for what we start. So, let me tell you where we're at today. Usually I tell you I film this episode on the weekend, which it is. It's also a holiday weekend, or a pre-holiday weekend. And it is hot here. It's really hot. It's been over 100 degrees, and then in my shop it's even worse. So I have a little fan going right now. I don't know if you can hear that hum or not in the microphone. And also, too, I'm filming this at 7 o'clock in the morning, just so I can beat the heat. So, okay, let's get right into it before the temperatures soar too high. So, Andrew Pritchard, he's been doing this cabinet project, and I've really had a lot of fun following his progress on it. He sent me, a month or more ago, a concept drawing of it that he did. And he started building the legs and the stretchers, and he's had to make some revisions to the original plan. The legs came out shorter than he wanted, but apparently he wants the overall height to be the same. So to compensate for the shorter legs, he's adding a section in, which will be a couple of drawers. Now, it wasn't part of his original plan, but it's, I think, actually looking better. And that's something that I find happens pretty frequent for me here in the shop. I mean, if you're always working off of plans from magazines or from books, you know, that's great. That's great for doing your woodworking skills, and, you know, you complete something, being able to follow directions. But when you're working from your mind, it leaves you opportunities to create new things and to practice new woodworking skills. And that's where Andrew finds himself. So he's going to be doing the drawers. I think he wants to do some dovetail drawers. And hey, we've been talking dovetails for weeks now. So at any rate, I find this project of his incredibly encouraging and a lot of fun to watch. So let's see. Rogelio Silva. Rogelio entered last week some pictures for the first time. And he said he's fairly new to woodworking, but he loves doing scroll saw work. He's just crazy about it. And so here in this picture, he's cutting out what's going to be, I don't know if it's the front or the top of a box, a jewelry box. Now he got the plans from a book, and he wanted me to encourage the viewers to really look into doing some scroll saw work. I have to admit, I had to be honest with him. I don't do a whole lot of it. Scroll saw, I just do as a job might require. But hey, everybody has something that they gravitate towards, and scroll sawing is his thing. And actually, it's been an interesting thing about scroll sawing. This week, I had a company call me and said that they have some kind of new scroll saw. I don't know if it's a machine or a tool or something for it. At any rate, they wanted me to be in their video, and they wanted me to look the machine over and play with it, and they wanted some of my work in the background. They wanted to feature me. And I just had to be honest with them and said, hey, I'm flattered you guys like my woodworking and that, but I'm not a scroll saw guy. So I suggested this company that they call Charles Deering. Now, Charles and I, we've been talking for years. Very nice guy. I enjoy my conversations with him. But Charles has got to be the best scroll saw artist out there. So I'm going to put a link in the description below. If you want to get into scroll sawing, if you need plans, DVDs, advice, I'm going to put his link down below. He's got so many plans, really reasonably priced. You just got to go there and check it out. It's good stuff. So I'm trying to do Rogelio some good and encourage you all to do scroll sawing, and I want to give you a good source to go to if you want to get into it. Okay, moving on. Mark Fitzsimmons. Now, Mark, I've been talking with Mark over there in Ireland. Love Ireland. Been there several years ago now. Would love to get back. But Mark is a woodworker. He does it on the side. He also works for a company, works in some amazing houses. He was the fellow I was telling you was doing the 31 doors for that big old mansion house there, and he just finished the doors up. But he sent in a picture here of his mailbox that he did. Now, the mailbox, he really got the idea and the concept from good old Norm from the new Yankee Workshop. But, you know, Mark changed a few little things for his taste and that. But, see, even, doesn't matter how good your skill level is, you can always even do simple projects. They don't have to be these big, glorious projects. But in a mailbox, it doesn't sound like it's all impressive. But, you know, the little details to it, the trim and such, the little finial up on top, all those things make it look very pleasant to the eye. So anyhow, send your pictures in. Keep doing it. Thanks for that photo there, Mark. Okay, so here's someone new, Roy Sawyer, and he made this jewelry box out of walnut. Now, Roy says that he comes from a background of doing rough carpentry, and he said, you know, as he's doing the woodworking, especially the details, the joinery on this jewelry box, it was a whole new skill level for him to learn, because anyone who's done rough carpentry, you know, if it's within a quarter inch, it's good enough. You know, it's going to get covered with drywall, or going to put, you know, sheathing up or something, right? But you can't have that mentality in doing woodworking. Close isn't close enough in woodworking. And I was telling Roy that as a licensed contractor, I would have to do a lot of different jobs for the remodeling and that. And when I would do framing, I was really slow because I was trying to get all the studs and everything to fit just right. And then after a week or so of framing, and you got to transition over later into finished carpentry, it was hard for me to do because I got stuck in the mentality of starting to rush doing the framing, and then I got to slow down to do the finished carpentry. So I don't do that anymore. I don't bounce back and forth like that. I just stick with the finished carpentry and the furniture making. But at any rate, I thought that was kind of a fun little story to share with him, and I like the fact what he's doing with the walnut. He also said too, and I've had this happen, he said that when he bought the walnut, he was actually nervous about cutting into it, you know, because you spend that money for it. It's a beautiful piece, and you're worried about ruining it. And let me tell you, I still have that. I've got a piece of mahogany over here that has probably been sitting in my shop for 5 years. I'm afraid to put the saw to it. Anyhow, I guess I gotta just jump in like Roy did and bite the bullet and cut the wood. So, thanks for the photo there, Roy. All right, Terry Krelling. On one of the shows the other week, I had asked about what all your first projects were, your first woodworking project, if you had it still, or if you didn't have it, what it was. And Terry still had his. He's got this table that he made out of solid mahogany, and he did this in school, so they must have had shop class, and it was back in 1960. And I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. A, not only is the fact that he still have this, but B, that they would make such elaborate projects. And he said this was his first project, this table, and you can see that the ends fold up and down on it. They would never try that in a school today for the first project. And around here, where I live, there aren't a whole lot of schools that offer a woodworking shop class. So it's just kind of sad to see that go away. Hopefully a show like this will encourage more folks to get in it. So, Terry, thanks for sending in that photo. Okay, Stephen Kofod. Hope I said your name right, Stephen. Stephen is also new. He said he's fairly new to woodworking itself, and he made these Adirondack chairs, bench. He said he first made it for family, then he made some for friends, now he's actually making some and selling them to a few customers. So that's pretty cool. It gets addicting when you start actually getting paid to do it. My only problem is, and this is just me, usually the first time I make a project is really exciting. The second time I make that same project, I lose a little bit of motivation. By the third time coming around, I don't want to do it anymore. My mind is not set up for being a production type of guy. I need something challenging all the time. But hey, Stephen, if you're making money from doing the chairs, great to you. And I noticed on the bench, it had like some carvings, words in it. And I was curious if he did that by hand or if he used a router. I assumed a router, because I thought if you're a beginner into woodworking, you probably wouldn't invest in a CNC. And he said his wife works for like a laser imprinting company, and she was able to cut that out for him. So that's pretty cool. The wife's even getting in on the woodworking too. So thanks for the photos, Stephen. Jeff, I don't know if it's Libby or Levi. Anyhow, Jeff here. Jeff sent some nice emails. I got a couple nice emails, but Jeff sent an email saying he was really appreciative of the show. He said this show has encouraged him to get back out in the workshop, do some more woodworking. He did it for a while, got a little discouraged, and one of the things that was frustrating for him is he wants to make a router lift for his router table, and to buy the lift that's expensive. So he got online and watched some videos and bought some plans to make your own router lift. And he said the plans aren't very clear. There's a lot of room for error on it, and for that reason he just kind of put it aside. I think he said he put it aside for 2 years. But don't feel bad there, Jeff, because I had that piece of mahogany sitting there for 5 years. But yeah, so he said he's found the inspiration to do it again. He found a solution for the problem. And again, I think that's what this show is about. I ask folks, if you have questions on a project you're doing, you just get stuck, you can go ahead and write me, and we'll talk in an email and try and walk you through it. We all need that. We all need someone that's better than us in what we're doing, so we can learn from. I mean, I have two very good friends, Dennis and Les, that when I get stumped, I call. Dennis and Les have been, oh my God, they've probably each been doing woodworking for over 50 years. Dennis did it professionally for many, many years. So Dennis has both aspects of it. He's got what it's like out on the job site, and you know what it's like doing it just for fun as a hobby. So no shame in reaching out to others, but Jeff is, like I said, Jeff's back in the game. He's doing the craft that we all love, and Jeff's going to be showing us some more photos of his progress. He promised me that. All right, so we're going to go down to Australia. Well, it depends on where you're living. If you're in Australia, I guess you're not going down anywhere. But for the rest of us here, myself in the States, we're going down to Australia now, where Peter Compton is there. I've gotten to know some of you all. I feel like friends because sending in your photos regularly. We talk about some of the stuff you guys are doing in the shop. And, of course, I don't share everything. You know, sometimes we have just private emails, so I don't share everything on the show. But Peter's down there in Perth, and for them, there's like vacation day or holiday for the kids at school. And he said he has a young lad working with him in his shop, his first apprentice. And that's exciting. That's exciting. I'm curious what Peter's first going to teach to him. I'm even curious how this young lad came to be interested in working with him. But I know the kids are off on school. My sister's down there. I was just talking with her last night, and her kids, you know, vacation, they're having a good time. But it's cold down there, so I'm envious of them because it's blazing hot here. But Peter's working on a new bench. He's making a Roubo style bench, and he's going to add a vise on his there. but he's building it out of some Murray red gum wood. He said it's very hard wood, and I know like those, was it the gum trees? There's all different species of them, and they're all over the place down there in Australia. I've never worked with the wood, but he said it's very hard, and it looks neat from the photo. Kind of looks like it's reddish in color. Anyhow, so workbenches are always a great topic. Folks love workbenches, and I'll be curious to see his project that he's going to be making on that. Okay, let's see. Frank Porter, another fellow who's new. Frank made this cabinet. It's all made out of tulip poplar. Get this. No plywood, no screws, no nails. He's done it all by hand, hand-cut dovetails. He's done the raised panels just with hand planes. Very nice piece. And, you know, I found there's like two types of woodworkers besides the power tools versus the hand tool guys. There are the folks that want to start and finish a project quickly, complete it to show it off. And then there are others who just enjoy the journey of doing the woodworking, that there's never a rush. You know, I think in Frank's case, that's probably what it is. He just loved working with the wood, probably calms him down, it's peaceful, it's quiet. But nonetheless, really impressed with that, Frank. I loved seeing the photos of it, so thanks for sending that photo in. Okay, now Peter James. Peter James, he's fairly new. I think he's sent stuff in now 3 or 4 times. He builds mandolins, and he's a retired carpenter, and he's building these mandolins. He even has a couple of students now. So this photo that you see is actually the student building it, and it's made out of curly mahogany there. And he had mentioned how he had bent that piece. It wasn't steam. I forget what he said. It was something I wasn't familiar with. So maybe I can get some more information out of Peter on it. But I don't know. I think that's really cool. I mean, like I said, you can do these big cabinets for woodworking, or you can do very intricate, delicate, fine woodworking like Peter does on the instruments. And last week I had or 2 weeks ago I joked, since he plays the music, Dan said, why doesn't he play us a song for the credits? And he did last week. It was a hit. So when we finish the show again, we'll have the same song by Peter. But if anyone else out there plays instruments, if you're in a band or just play the guitar or something, you want to send us in a little song that you wrote, we'll put your name and credits at the end and play the music. So thanks, Peter. All right, so Danny Wilshire. Last week I said Wilshire. As I was editing the video, I'm like, Chad, you idiot, it's Wilshire. So sorry, Danny, but Danny is making this, or he made this mahogany chest, and he too, this was his first project back in school. So many years ago, he made this chest, and again, cool stuff for shop class. I mean, mahogany, come on. Like I said, if I can even find a shop class in my town, they're probably just working with some cheap number 2 grade pine or something. But anyway, that was his first chest, first project he made, and it even survived Hurricane Harvey. So he must be down there in Florida, and it was, I think he said it was floating in the water. A couple of his projects, I think he said, floated away down the street. But it's sad. It's sad the natural disasters happen to you folks down there. But I'm glad that the piece survived, and it was built so well too that it stayed together even through the flooding. So anyhow, okay, let's see. So Paul Bylan last week made the footstool. Remember that? And he's making several footstools. And I think he's, I keep forgetting this. I tried to go back and find the email. I think Paul said he's making these and he auctions them off for vets to help raise money and help treatment for vets. Paul's a former vet himself, and so he's making a whole bunch of these. And so, you know, last week, if you saw, I did the corny joke. I gave him a big hand. So, you know, all I got to say this week is that when you're making that many stools, well, that's quite the feat. I know, corny, sorry. Anyhow, thanks, Paul. So Daryl Matheny, Daryl sent in some photos last week. He's got some more here. Daryl is taking an old Sears stand from a table saw, and he's going to turn it into a sanding station. And he's thinking about adding a door or drawer or something underneath. And again, he's doing most of it out of pallet wood. So you can see he's practicing putting some butterfly keys in to keep the wood from splitting some more. But it's kind of a neat idea, you know, taking something that's old and broken, kind of finding a new life for it. So it's going to be still in the shop. It'll be a sanding station. But at any rate, that's a better alternative than to throwing it out at the curb. And the fact that he's using pallet wood, again, I'm not a fan of pallet wood, but in this case, since it's going to be in the shop, hey, why not? It doesn't have to be the good stuff. Okay, so then the last thing I got to sum up with was, you know, some of you folks that sent in the photos of what your first projects were, and I had mentioned in last episode that this was my first project. It was a bottle opener. And, oh my God, this was hilarious. So, just last night, David Bishop over there at One Eye Woody, he sends me this video. And so he's made a video, if you want to make one of these bottle openers. And I'm cracking up. You can see here in the photo, he made one of myself and Safety Dan. But he even made, like, exactly the crappy shape that I did here. So, very funny, and the video is hilarious. You can see he's done it a lot in the style that I like, with the humor and the sound effects and everything. I was really, really laughing hard over this. So thanks, David. I'm going to put the link to his video down below so y'all can watch it. And hopefully you get a big kick out of it like the way I did. So thanks a lot. That was great. And if any of you all would like to have your work here on the show displayed and showcased to everyone, feel free to email me at stantonfinefurniture@gmail.com. And of course, if you have any woodworking questions, feel free to write me. I'm always willing to help with that. I will ask one thing though. I've had some of this happen in the past. I'll ask if you're sending in your photos of a project, please send in photos of just one project. I don't care if you send 2 or 3 photos of the same project, but don't give me multiples. The reason I ask, I know, like, you say, oh, well, you can use them other weeks and space it out, and I do appreciate it. But when I get so many emails, I forget who had who and, you know, where they're at. It just gets lost in all of it. So if you would, just one project a week. But hey, we'll get your stuff on as much as you want, because I know I've got so many emails that came in that said how encouraging the show is, and seeing what you all are making out there is giving other people either ideas, or it's got them excited again to get out in the shop and make something. So I think it's fantastic. We all are doing a wonderful thing here. So anyhow, until next time, and hopefully it'll be a little bit cooler so I don't have to get out here so early in the morning, keep on dancing.